Hi, my name's Jeff and I'm here today to show you how to repair the gas strut pivot bolt when it becomes loose and falls off for the Landrover Discovery 3 TDV6. Now apparently this is a common problem in discos with the older models where the left hand side is okay and rusted up, but sometimes the right hand side pillar at the back, the bolt can become loose, and without checking the bolt can actually come away from the nut, and the nut ends up falling down inside the D pillar where you can't get it. Now this can result in a very expensive bill at the Landrover dealers for cutting out the D pillar, getting the bolt, replating and welding. But I'm going to show you a method today that has worked well for me personally, which will take less than an hour to solve, and will soon have your tailgate opening up and down again with no problem at all. So I hope you like the video. Sit back and watch. And like I said, I hope you like it. Thanks very much. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about is the equipment that you need for this job. Quite simple really. You need an adjustable spanner for when you tighten the strut bolt back up again. You're going to need some bolt croppers, as like the ones in the picture, for clipping the coat hanger, which is the technique I'm going to show you in just a moment. And more importantly, you're going to need a hole saw set, and you're going to be using the 25mm cutter. It's advisable to go for a decent set like Bosch. There are others available on the market. If you go for a cheaper set, you're not guaranteed to get through the metal on the car metal work. So I would, if I were you, go for a slightly more expensive set to get the job done properly. Now the first thing you've got to do is get an old coat hanger and stretch it out and form it into the shape of a fishing rod with a bit of a handle at the bottom end, as you can see, and then with a curve at the top end. That's going to be quite important because that's going to be used to try and hold the pivot nut, the M8 nut, as well as the lock washer. And the next couple of diagrams will show you that in a little bit more detail. Now the next thing you've got to do is basically glue together using metal glue an M8 lock washer and the M8 nut, the new one that you've probably bought from any good DIY store. Now I've used paper in between the lock washer and the M8 nut, just purely to create a sandwich or a burger, whatever you'd like to call it. And then I've used metal glue to then stick the three layers, the M8 nut underneath, the M8 lock washer and the paper all together. And as you can see in the next diagram, what you then do is you get the end of the coat hanger and you wrap that around the nut, and then you actually glue, using metal glue again, the end of that coat hanger, the curve, to the M8 nut itself. Now you can see in this picture clearly that the pivot bolt at the top, there is a hole where you can see that it's no longer in position. What you've got to do here is you must tape back the seal on the tailgate door itself out the way, because when you pop the drill into to making the pilot hole in the D pillar, you don't want it rubbing against the rubber and destroying it. But it's very important that you make that pilot hole first, so that then you can position the drill as much as you can at 90 degrees, and then drill the 25mm hole. Go slowly, a little bit at a time, because you don't want to go through obviously the other side of the door pillar. And also be reassured there are no electrics running up and down that D pillar, but do go very slowly so you can cut it out, if you like, millimetre by millimetre. Now once you've drilled the 25mm hole into the D pillar very carefully, as I said, you then get your fishing rod coat hanger with the M8 nut on it and the M8 lock washer all glued together, and you stick it up the hole and you basically have the M8 lock washer on the nearest side, on the left hand side, so it can receive the bolt, and you align it up using a little bit of wiggling, and then you can actually then start to screw the M8 bolt into the nut very slowly. The thread should take up and then it should start to tighten. Now what you're left with then is the coat hanger sort of sticking out the end of the hole. Now if that doesn't come off once you've tightened the bolt up at the top, then the easiest method to use is to get those bolt croppers that you saw at the beginning of the video, and chop it off in level with the actual hole itself. Then it's not sticking out from the D pillar. The only thing left to do then is to get a 25mm blind grommet. These are available very cheaply on eBay or from a DIY store, and then just pop that into the 25mm hole that you've made, and that will stop any dust and water from getting in the future. Don't forget to tighten the D-bolt up as much as you can using a spanner. You have to go carefully with that. If you want to check the handbook for what the torque is, then please do. However, I don't have that data with me today. Tighten it up as much as you need to, and then obviously raise the tailgate and test once you have reconnected the gas strut to both the tailgate end as well as the D-pillar end. And you should find then that it works perfectly. Now, I'd very much like to thank you for watching the video today. A lot of the methods that I've used has been taken from advice and guidance from a chat forum that I'm a member of in the UK, which is www.disco3.co.uk. However, I have adapted the method to my own personal use. But no, thanks to the guys on the chat forum who have actually saved me a lot of money. Just like to make clear that the methods and techniques that I've showed you today are personal for my own vehicle. They are not endorsed by the Jaguar Landrover Group at all, or any of its associates or affiliates. I do advise you to contact your own mechanic if you've got any doubts about proceeding with your own vehicle. And as this is a personal method that I have used, please just take the time to read the legal disclaimer that I've put at the back. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and please feel free to have a go at using the method, and I hope it does save you hundreds of pounds, unless you want to go down the welding and cutting route. Thanks very much.